Good morning all. This is Jack here from Kellton Tech Solutions. Thank you so much for allowing your time to come to this webinar. We are going to have on the API strategy with IBM API Connect. I see a few people are joining in, but let's not wait more. We have this webinar will be hosted by Balaji Vinna, who is our IBM Integration Practice Manager within the Digital Connected Enterprise Business Unit, in Kellton Tech Solutions. So I'll just take, 1 or 2 quick minutes, walk you through a little history about Kellton Tech, and then once we come to the agenda, I will pass the control to Balaji, and we can go to the real stuff, talk more on the IBM API Connect. So hopefully my screen is clear to everyone. So let's start. So once again, thank you so much, and we are going to detail on the API Connect today. So this is right. So this is a slide, a quick slide, which talks a milestone about the Kellton Tech. We started as infinite possibilities with technology. This is our mission and our value, which briefs and talks about how we have grown from the 1993 to 2017, putting our footprints in the software services. So Kellton Tech has 3 different business units. One is into digital transformation business unit, where we have services more on the Drupal side. The other business unit is Connected Enterprise business unit, where we talk more on the integration services portfolio, where again we are partnered with IBM, Software AG, and MuleSoft. That's where even API fits into this business unit again. And the third business unit is from the ERP end. That's where we do a lot on the SAP side of the work. So coming to the next slide, these are our numbers. So Kellton Tech is a public limited company. We are on 2016, we are at 1,100 plus people, where we are headquartered in New Jersey. Of course, we have global delivery centers across US, UK, and India too. In India, we have somewhere around more than 400 to 500 people working in the US time zone. This is a partial list of the customers we have within Digital Connected Enterprise, or I should say more on the integration side, right from the retail to manufacturing to finance services. These are few logos we have added. So this is the slide where briefs you about our core services portfolio. There are 7 core portfolios, right from the advisory services to API, assisting a lot the clients on the BPM front, doing a lot of business around big data analytics. So this slide is more on the core services portfolio for you all, just to see a quick eye on this. Again, as I was saying, where we are partners. So these are the these are the softwares or technologies, I should say, where we are partnered, from the IBM to Software AG to Mule. We are into Informatica and CA technologies very recently. So this slide talks more about the technology partnerships we have. Core technology expertise. I'll quickly walk. There are many of which I really don't want to talk more and spend my time on the sales pitch, but hopefully this should help you to little understand where Kellton Tech services, or how Kellton Tech services are, and the kind of industry solutions and domain expertise we have. So this is one quick slide where I really wanted to let the audience know that we have a strong center of excellence, focusing on these API, SOA, and BPM. We have been investing a lot in the center of excellence in the integration practice. right in the IBM domain, right in the MuleSoft, and even if it is the web method. So this is the quick slide which talks more about the center of excellence where we have been investing a lot, to develop our services. This slide talks more about the kind of engagement models we have. So far we have been more than 80 plus engagements where we have been doing on the integration front. We are very flexible in terms of providing the services to the clients, right from the short term to project based to any time and material. So these are few common models where you see within our portfolio of services and the kind of engagements we do with our clients. Our key differentiators Balaji again. Balaji is going to be the coach today to talk more about the API management concept. Thank you so much for your time again, and probably for all the audience again, to let you know that we are going to have a question and answer session at the end of the last 3 to 4 minutes where Balaji would like to answer those if you have any. So any questions you have, please put your questions in the box you see at the end of the webinar we have. So I'm now going to pass the control to Balaji, and Balaji, just let me know once you have the control from here, please.
Sure. Thanks, Jack. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today's webinar on API strategy with IBM API Connect. The agenda for today's webinar, we would be covering APIs and API management concepts, API Connect features overview, a strategy for API management with API Connect, and some of the best practices what we have. We'll visit them. So at a very APIs and API management, at a very basic level, APIs are the way that applications interact or communicate with each other. API would have interface and have the operations input output specifier. The main purpose of APIs is to allow parties outside of your company to extend the reach of your company to the parties outside and extend the reach of your existing applications. Extending the reach of your applications to outside customers is in turn will drive more customers and more business to your company, and also facilitating access to your applications and your assets would allow the third parties to create novel uses of your business applications. Developers can choose to integrate their applications with the providers that provide the APIs. Like if your business do provide the APIs, developer will come and use your APIs and create their applications. If your business doesn't have one, developers would go to your competitor. So as you see, the way the business is done is fast changing. Instead of having just a website, businesses are integrating their applications with business partner applications, smartphone and tablet apps, and a wide range of other connected devices. And APIs are like they're almost similar to the earlier websites in which they're available 24/7 and 365 days a year. And with APIs too are to be well maintained and updated like the websites. And nowadays the business APIs have become the public representation of the public because as the way it is evolving from a from a store presence to toll-free numbers to websites, and now that is all done. Now it is through APIs because APIs represent a path to new business opportunities by attracting the customers and also attracting the developers to use more products and services from the company. The web-based portals that are provided by the organization, they dictate a rigid way of interaction for the customers with the company, whereas with APIs, clients can build their own business processes that are tailored to their own needs, and better yet, the company doesn't have to build a complex website that satisfy different customers to build their own applications. Finally, APIs provide the client flexibility to mix and match functions from multiple organizations. If we just look at some of the early adopters or pioneers of APIs in the industry, APIs are not new. As you see, there is Netflix, eBay. Some of these are some of the examples, some of the organizations wherein which their revenue, their main business is heavily dependent on the APIs. As you see, this is a study done by, I think, Gartner, where eBay 60% of the annual revenue comes from their APIs. Expedia's 90% of their annual revenue comes from APIs. Enterprise digital transformation. With the recent accelerated adoption of cloud, mobile, and social platforms, organizations are digitizing their businesses and are moving towards, they're marching towards digital transformation to gain a competitive advantage in their operations and in the way they do the business. The digitization of the organization facilitates the integration of their information, processes, work, and people, so that the entire organization can collaborate and function more efficiently and effectively. So towards this digital transformation, enterprises are unlocking their huge amounts of data that they have in their backend systems to create the new opportunities. As you see, as you see on the left side, they have systems of record wherein which the core data that is essential for the business function is being stored. Those are all the systems and the backend systems of the organization. On the innovation edge, you have the systems of engagement where they would build all the new types of applications that would address all this emerging space of social mobile platforms. And you have to remember that APIs are the key enablers in this journey of digitization, because they would help organizations to securely expose all their assets, whatever, to their customers, their partners, and also to the public. So towards the enterprise, towards the digitization, these are the two steps that will be happening. One is renovation and innovation. Renovation of the backend systems is still important. That will be continuing, wherein which the existing backend systems of records will be continuously updated, like the products would be updated and with fixed packs on the latest versions. Whereas on the innovation side, the systems of engagement, all the new types of application APIs, microservices, and to enable the new emerging space and IoT, they will be built. So towards in this journey, organizations are looking to shift the loads of the computing to the cloud. That runs in their own space. You need to develop a fast speed of the applications, rapid development on the systems of edge. This all would facilitate the accelerated space of mobile and social channel adoption to engage with the consumers. So as we see, as we recognize, APIs one of the APIs is a key enabler for this digital transformations. you would want to have an effective API management solution that would facilitate a rapid development of APIs and securely exposing the APIs, and also publishing the APIs to reach the customers or extend the reach of your organization to outside, and also to monetize and measure the success of your API adoption. So IBM API Connect would facilitate this entire API lifecycle management to have the rapid delivery, security, and able to reach, and also the monetization of APIs. Just before I delve into API Connect, details of API Connect, I just want to briefly touch on API Connect. Connect has three offerings: Essentials, Professional, and Enterprise. The difference is Essentials is a no-charge forum-supported offering. The Professional package is for departments with for a single department with a standalone API project. The difference is it has higher entitlement for API calls. The Enterprise package is designed for multiple departments across the organization. In addition to the features of Professional, it also has much higher API entitlement support. Now, the details of, let's get into what is API Connect. API Connect is a simplified and comprehensive solution that focuses on, as I said, entire API lifecycle management, from API creation, service runtime administration, API security, and lifecycle management. So API Connect is facilitates model-driven development. I'll come back as why I say model-driven development. Has multiple runtime support, Java, Node.js, extensive management capabilities, high availability clustering, and it also provides analytics to measure consumption of APIs. The reason I said it facilitates model-driven development is Loopback, an open source Node.js API framework, is part of IBM API Connect. Because of this loopback, you can develop APIs faster by focusing on the business logic and data. You would just define a model, and the loopback framework automatically creates a predefined REST API with full set of create, retrieve, update, and delete operations. The loopback API for each of the model you define. So that's why API Connect facilitates model-driven development. API Connect, where does it fit? As you see here, API Connect facilitates your organization's systems of records that are on the that are the backend systems of the organizations. They are facilitates exposing them towards your systems of engagement apps to API with full lifecycle management, where create, run, secure, manage, all four stages of the API lifecycle management are facilitated through the IBM API Connect. The capabilities of API Connect can be divided into 4 themes: create, run, manage, secure. The create theme signifies rapid model-driven API creation. API Connect follows API Connect supports the Swagger 2.0 specification. The APIs are represented in the Swagger 2.0 format. The run theme specifies the multiple runtimes available, the Node.js and Java runtime, and also the high availability and the clustering support available. The manage theme signifies before actually it invokes the APIs. You have 3 installation options for API Connect. You can have API Connect on premises. You can have IBM API Connect as a service on Bluemix platform. Also, you can have a dedicated cloud service, on the API for the API Connect platform on software layer. The on-premises, you can deploy developer portal, management server, cloud manager as virtual machines, or you can install and configure a virtual or physical data power appliance as the API gateway. Bluemix, the API Connect on Bluemix have the same publish, manage, enforce, and secure features as on-premises offering. The key difference is Bluemix service and the on-premises version is the infrastructure administration and the gateway configuration access, because for those two, you would have to work with the service provider to configure and manage these parts. The dedicated cloud service on hardware layer is dedicated to you. You have the option to integrate your corporate LDAP server for authentication on the dedicated cloud service. So let's look at the API Connect topology view and see how the 6 components are related to each other. How do they function? You have the API developer using the API Toolkit. He would define the API, and the API implementation is deployed onto the runtime. The runtime is managed by the API collective controller, which in turn is controlled by the API management server. At the same time, the API with the product and the plan is published to the management server. The management server configures the API gateway with API definition and makes the API subscribable on the developer portal. And whoever the developers are, the consumers of the API, they would subscribe their client applications to the API on the developer portal, and thereby the API, then they invoke the API through the API gateway. On the depending security and message processing policies, the API request is forwarded to the runtime, and the client application is returned with the response. You can see the various components that we just discussed by their role. The API lifecycle management, you would want to have all the steps like create, run, manage, secure to be addressed. So the create and run, collective controller, runtime environment, developer toolkit, they fulfill the role of the create and run team, and the developer portal and API management server of API Connect, they facilitate discovery, plan, product policy creation, and API monitoring and analytics. The API gateway is the one that would facilitate the API policy enforcement, enterprise security, traffic control, and analytics connection. This is a brief view of API consumers and API providers in the digital ecosystem, where a wide range of clients like mobile, web applications, and business partner applications, they all supported because each of these applications have different kind of requirements for security, access, quality of service, and also each will have different data formats. On the right side, you have the core enterprise, where you are strong standards, data, messaging, goes out of the system. The existing set of applications in the core enterprise are the ones that provide the implementation for these APIs. So what does the API Developer Toolkit has? It has an API Designer web application, API Explorer application, and API-C command utility. The API Designer web application facilitates design, configuration, and testing of the app. The API Explorer is a view in the API Designer web app, and API Explorer is the one that would allow you to test your REST APIs that are on your API gateway. The API-C command line utility, that is the one that defines, generates, and configures your API interface definition and API implementation. You can generate API definitions, gateway configuration in the form of Swagger documents. And API-C command line utility also facilitates you to publish API definitions, products, and plans to API management servers. With the API Connect, we categorize APIs into system APIs and interaction APIs. System APIs are that facilitate pass-through. I mean, they just access the data at your backend. The data will be passed of the system. It says proxies, the request directly to your existing APIs or the services, whereas interaction APIs are more of your system APIs, and they manipulate and return the data with the new logic to the caller. So just to look at how the message flow happens in an API Connect typically. When an API consumer calls, so for example, a system API or an existing API, the gateway forwards a request to the existing API, whereas when a consumer calls into interaction API, the gateway forwards it to the interaction API, and the interaction API in turn invokes other system APIs or the data sources and manipulates the data and returns to the caller. And here, as you see here, the gateway is the one that enforces the policies. You can have either a data power gateway or the micro gateway, depending on the type of API Connect installation you have in your organization. These are the various gateway policies that are offered with these two gateways, with the micro gateway and data power gateway. Of course, the data power gateway has a rich set of features and the policies available. You can also have the user-defined policies, wherein which the user can create their own, and they would be available in the palette for usage into the flows. What are the types of security that is offered by API Connect for the API definitions? Three types: API keys, the HTTP basic, and the OAuth 2. The API keys is like the an API key is the one that uniquely identifies the client application. I mean, the developer has to register in the API portal with their application, and that's when they get their key and the client ID and client secret that gets generated, and then that's what they will use whenever they are trying to access that API. Basic is the HTTP basic and writes the authentication information in the HTTP request message header. OAuth 2 is the one that defines a way for a client to access server resources on behalf of another party. Like OAuth separates the role of the client from the role of the resource owner. The client is issued a different set of credentials than the credentials of the resource owner, and that would facilitate the client to use the resources on behalf of the resource owner. Analytics. Why the analytics are important and how the analytics are available through API Connect. The analytics data is needed for various reasons, for the product managers or the developers to check like which APIs are used most, the performance of APIs, are we hitting the rate limits of the API plan, is there any latency on the API calls, and overall to gain real-time visibility into the API program performance and to monitor API availability, uptime, traffic, and response time. Analytics are from the gateway and management servers and stored in the management servers. The received analytics are transformed, and they would be available for 90 days. This analytics information can be available through API Manager, Cloud Console, and Developer Portal of API Connect. what will be our strategy, what will be current API implementation strategy, and what are the best practices we have to offer. So the basic questions that would be asked for API implementation is these are the basic set of questions, strategic questions that needs to be answered before venturing into API implementation. As you know, what is the objective of making the APIs available? Who will be the consumers? Are they going to be internal APIs, external APIs? What assets could be available, made available, or who should have the access? These relate to the security and protection of your APIs. And also important is what is the pricing model that needs to be used for your APIs, and how do you monetize or measure success for your APIs. Our strategy is to have a robust security layer, security caching, representation, and orchestration layer for a successful API management solution implementation. Because your APIs can be exposed from all architectural layers, like your backend SOA, system data layer, and even from your SOA layer, that is a process integration layer, even from your apps and your presentation layer apps and microservices, even from your external platforms, the extended system layer. So our strategy is to have a robust security caching, representation, or orchestration layers built for API implementation. We follow the multi-layer API connectivity approach with system infrastructure APIs, process APIs, experience, and third-party APIs. We offer services for API implementation with the different sets of APIs to be built within different sets of time frames. We can have digital business APIs built within 4 to 6 weeks. That is a rapid prototyping done. And the process APIs would take like 3 to 6 months, and the system APIs a much longer time frame. So how do we do this? We do follow a 5-step process. We define requirements for your high-level API requirements, and we document, and we do the gap analysis, assess the IT assets and the skills on organization strategy, governance procedures. We make the recommendations, and we define implementation strategy with the reference architecture and software architecture. Okay, coming to the best practices. So I would like to touch upon some of the best practices of API implementation, and you can have the best practices, architectural best practices, planning and preparation, implementation, and administration best practices for API management. So what some of the key ones are, to start having the conversation with your API consumers or the app developers early in the game, and establish and agree on API plan versioning and communication procedures. And for the public consumers, understand and focus on the security requirements at the earliest in the development implementation process. Also it's imperative to have the runtime components where you store the data that could be in your secured zone. And DevOps, almost majority of the organizations are adopting DevOps. So your API success requires for you to integrate your API development cycles with your organization DevOps process. You need to have enterprise system level monitoring integrated for your API monitoring, and also you need to have the infrastructure that can be dynamically scaled, that can be quickly done based on your API's consumptions, and that will be critical for success. Thank you for listening. Any questions, Jack?
Right, Balaji. Thank you so much. So still keep the control with you. I'm facing some technical difficulties, so by chance if I drop off in between, I'll make sure that I reach to each and everyone who attended with, of course, a thank you email. uh, I know we are already passing the time. Usually initially we schedule it for 30 minutes. Now it's already 10:35 past. So that being said, we already have a couple questions lined up for you, just in case we end up this bridge. I apologize, as we have scheduled it just for 30 minutes, and I'm going to reach out to each and every audience who attended. And please get back to me to my email. I will be happy to assist you to detail more with the kind of best practices we have, and how our APIs Connect could be a value add for you in your IT efforts. Now, the very first question, Balaji, I have for you is how API Connect is comparable to other API products in the market.
Okay, Jack, that's one question that we get asked frequently by the customers. There are other good competitive products in the market for API management, but among all API, I think API Connect is the only one that supports all four stages of the complete life cycle of API management: run, secure, and manage. The secure and manage features of this API management solution is the one recently, IBM started offering from this year. So I think API Connect is the only one that has all these four features.
All right.
Yeah.
So the second thing is how organizations go about cataloging the API as products.
Typically, organizations they make a in their environment they make a sandbox catalog and a production catalog. Like they separate the APIs into these two separate catalogs, so that only once they are tested in the sandbox catalog, they are moved into the production catalog. So tend to get.
All right. Thanks, Balaji. So for now, I don't see more questions, but again, thank you so much for everyone who made your time to log into the bridge today for 30 minutes. Hopefully the session was helpful for you. And again, as I said, I'm going to reach to all the audiences who has accepted uh, or who has registered for this event. Please get back to us if you'd like to listen more about our skills and capabilities we have in IBM's API Connect. Thank you, and you all have a great week ahead. This is Jack from Kellton Tech signing off. Thanks, Balaji.
Thanks, Jack. Thanks.